As we continue our talk on homosexuality this week, I'd like to read to you from the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 9, day from Jesus' ministry. Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Like sheep without a shepherd. I want you to picture a sheep that doesn't have a shepherd. So they've gotten lost, they've walked away, they've wandered. Sheep are really good at wandering. They really can't defend themselves, they can't protect themselves, they have poor eyesight, so they really don't know where they're going. And imagine that this sheep wanders off and it gets stuck in a thorn bush. And the more it struggles, the more deep into the thorn bush, the deeper into the thorn bush it continues to go. And it keeps struggling, but it gets deeper and deeper and more entwined and more entwined and more entwined until finally it stops struggling. What does it mean that it stopped struggling? It means that something very important was missing from its life. It meant the sheep no longer had hope. It meant the sheep had given up. It meant the sheep came to the conclusion that there is no way that I can possibly get out of this, and so I might as well stop trying. But as long as the sheep was struggling, it was an indication of hope. Hope was alive. Hope was there. There was a belief that maybe this will turn out well for me. It doesn't feel very good in the moment, but it might someday. And I want you to think about that because it relates to our struggles with homosexuality, our struggles with any type of sin. If there is a sin that you personally struggle with, or that you see somebody struggling with, the struggle is actually a good thing if you see them struggling. If they have stopped struggling, then that means that they've lost hope. It means that there's little to no faith that anything good or anything different might ever happen. But if a person is struggling, it means that they're wrestling in some really, really good ways, believing that they might get out of this. And hope is exactly what Jesus came to give us as he came to struggle on the cross, as he wrestled with his own life and wrestled with his own thoughts, as he wrestled with the temptations that assaulted him, and with the constant balance of constantly asking himself the question, is it worth it? Is it worth it to keep struggling? Is it worth it to keep going? And the answer that he came to over and over again and again was yes. You're worth it. You're worth it. He sees your struggles. He sees our weakness. He sees that we are harassed and helpless in so many ways, like that crowd that he saw that day. And in particular, when it comes to the topic of homosexuality, I don't know if there is a topic that assaults us and harasses us and it just overwhelms. It overwhelms us. It is so much in front of our faces and so much in front of our eyes. And for somebody who struggles with this in their own hearts, it can be as if it's the only thing that they struggle with day by day. But Jesus sees that, and he has compassion. And so if you are somebody who is struggling with this, just see your struggle as a sign of faith. It is, because that's exactly what it is. It's a sign of faith. It means that your faith is active. It might be a struggle that you will struggle with for your entire life on earth until you are set free from the struggle in heaven. So don't give up. Keep struggling. And if you are somebody who sees someone you love struggling with this, don't give up on them. See the positive thing that's working in their life. See the faith and encourage it. Be positive with them. Show them Jesus. Show them how Jesus responds whenever he sees any of his sheep being harassed, any of his sheep feeling helpless against a weakness, against any kind of temptation. Just like it said in the Gospel of Matthew, he had compassion. His heart went out to them, just like it goes out to you. When you're in the middle of a struggle, the more you point at the person who is struggling, the weaker you will feel, because all you will see is a struggle. The more you point to the person and say, you are weak, you are struggling, you should be more, the weaker and more discouraged they will feel, because they will always see a struggle. In some way, they will always see their weakness. But if you point to Jesus, say, did he die for that sin? Did he rise from the dead and guarantee us that there's a place reserved for that person in heaven? Is he sitting at the right hand of God right now, overseeing all of creation, guaranteeing that there's nothing in all creation that's going to keep us from one day being completely refreshed and relieved from everything that weighs us down? The answer is always yes. Shine the spotlight on him, on everything that he did, and everything that he does, and his great compassionate love, and you will always find the strength to keep struggling.
Hey, what's up everyone? Pastor Mike here from Time of Grace. Thanks so much for checking out this podcast. We certainly would love this message to reach more and more people. So if you wouldn't mind rating and reviewing this podcast, it would bring it to more people's eyes, and we pray this message into more people's hearts. Thanks for your support, and we'll talk to you soon.